Hey y'all, sorry about that before. I was trying to go live and a call came through and everything got messed up for a moment. But here we are. We're back in the game. And the title of this live, for those of you who have not connected with me before, if you've not seen any videos or anything that I've done before, my name is Robert Kennedy III, RK3, and I work with business leaders who need to communicate critical messages with confidence. I work with small business owners who need to be able to create greater visibility for themselves, and I share them how to do that through the art of storytelling. So that is me in a nutshell. But today, we're getting started in just a few hours with what I call the start where you are. Oh, wrong direction. Boom. The start where you are challenge. Right. And the start where you are challenge is really intended for people who are small business owners, coaches, consultants who want to create greater visibility, but get stuck with the idea of, oh my gosh, I need to have this specific equipment, etc., etc. And so we don't want people to get stuck. We want people to be able to create transformation, create impact, make a difference with their business. And you can do that through the art of storytelling, especially on video. So that's what we are. That's what we're sharing with people, how they can do that. So I wanted to come on just to share one thing. We're going to share some more about this later in our challenge, but I wanted to share one thing, and that's about the one story that you need to be able to tell in your business, and you want to be able to make a difference in your business. So when I was about 2 years old, let me make sure my music is down. When I was about 2 years old, I had people that were around me. I had babysitters, etc. And one of the things that I heard quite a bit when I was that age was, you talk too much, or you ask too many questions. And I heard that for a bit. And so the more that I heard it, the more it affected. And then I just shut down and I was quiet for quite a while. And I don't remember my thought process as a child. I don't remember what was going through my brain. But when you are told that you talk too much, or that you ask too many questions, and there seems to be some frustration about it, you can only imagine, or in your mind, you can only begin to feel like you're doing something wrong. There's something that you're doing that is not acceptable for people. There's something that you're doing that is causing people to feel uncomfortable. And so after a while, you begin to play that story in your brain, and you begin to think that you're not enough, or there's something wrong with your words or your message or your communication or your mouth. And so I was quiet. I was shy for a very long time. And it wasn't until I got into college. I was in college, and I would say I began to come out of my shell a little bit in high school, or the end of high school, my senior year of high school. And I was in college, and I was getting ready I played for a group, or I played for a choir, and I was getting ready for a rehearsal one day. As I was getting for this rehearsal, there was a man standing a few rows back in one of the pews in the chapel where we were rehearsing. And I saw him standing there, and for a moment, it looked kind of creepy, really. Right? He was standing there, and I turned my back, and out of the corner of my eye, you could kind of just feel his presence. And I kind of felt him coming a little bit closer. And so I turned around, and he was pretty close. And he said to me, hey, Robert, can I talk to you for a second? And I said, sure. And he says to me, I've seen you practicing. I've seen you playing. I've seen you doing some things with this group and with this choir. And there's something that I see that makes me feel like you're hiding behind this keyboard. And I didn't understand what he meant, but he said it a couple of times. He said, I see you doing these different things. I see some of your engagements with other people, and you're not always out front. You're not ever out front. You're behind the keyboard, but there's something that happens. There's something that you're doing that makes me feel like there's more, and you should not be behind the keyboard. You should actually be out in front of the keyboard. And as he said that, as he talked a little bit more about leading, as he talked about sharing and being and finding my voice and using my voice, my head began to go back to the times where I was told that I talked too much. My head began to go back to the times where I was told that I asked too many questions. And I began to realize that at some point my voice was stripped away. I began to realize that at some point my voice, my story was taken away from me. I was silenced in a lot of ways. And I don't want to blame everybody in my life, or I don't want to blame people in my life, because at some point, despite what happens to you, you begin to make decisions about how you're going to respond to them. And the decisions that I was making over time was that I was not good enough, or that I was not going to step into a certain space. I was not going to step out front. I was not going to put myself in a place where I could be questioned or ridiculed or thought of as not enough because of my voice. Or I was not going to be in a place where I was told again that I talked too much, or that my questions were too much. And so I shut down. But as I spoke to this guy, he was one of the chaplains at the school, I began to think about things more. And as I went home for that summer, I thought about some things more. And as I came back to school the next year, I decided to start a group, and I founded a couple of groups, and I started some groups, and I started a couple of choirs, and I kind of began to build on this whole idea of leading and finding my voice. And even in the parts of my life and my business where I moved away from things that had to do with speaking or communicating, I found, or it found me, some way where I was able to be in a position to lead people. All right. And so my business now is Kinetic Communications. That's the corporate side of our business. And if you're online here, you'll see the Storytellers Growth Lab. That's the small business owner coach online course side of our business. And the idea behind all of that for me is that people at some point in their lives have been told that their words didn't matter. At some point in their lives, people have been told that their voices didn't matter, that their stories didn't matter. And when I see that, and when I see people who I know are more, when I see people who I know have something amazing to share, when I see people who have just satisfied themselves with living inside of a box, I remember that 2-year-old me that was told that my voice, that my words were too much, that I talked too much, that I asked too many questions. And so a big piece of the why behind my business is because I want people to know that their words deserve to be heard. I want people to know that their stories are important, that their stories are impactful, that their stories are transformational. I want people to know that they don't have to listen to the outside voices that wanted to silence them. And that whatever happened in their life, whatever happened in their space is important, and it's valuable. It's a roadmap for somebody else to help them navigate their own stuff as well. So I just shared with you why I do what I do. And I don't know if you sensed the emotion and the passion that comes through it, because it's what I love to do. And I hope that you sensed it. And if you are in a space where you've got a business, or if you've got some ideas, or if you've got something that you're thinking about doing, one of the stories that you want to be able to tell in business is why. Why do you do what you do? Why is what you do important to you? Why do you want to tell your why story? Anyway, well, here's the deal. You go to the supermarket and you look on the shelf and you're looking for bread and you go down the bread aisle and there are 35 types of bread and you can just pick up any bread that you want. Right? But if there is a bread with somebody standing by it and they tell you a story about the bread and they tell you, listen, this bread, I made this bread specially because my grandmother gave me this recipe 40 years ago. And I sat on this recipe for such a long time. But my grandmother passed away 2 years ago. And I decided that I was going to honor her by using her special recipe that she developed in 1945 for this bread. Are you going to pay attention to that bread differently? Yeah, you will, because there's a why story. There's a person telling you something about it, right? So I want you to think about that. You might say, hey, it's just because there was a person. Okay, let's say that there was a person beside the other breads and somebody's saying, hey, this bread is soft. You should buy this one. And somebody else is saying, hey, this bread has nuts in it. You should buy this one. Or somebody else is saying, hey, this bread doesn't have nuts in it. You should buy this one. You got three people telling you you should buy what it has and what it doesn't have. And you have one person that's saying, I'm selling this bread because I want to honor the memory of my grandmother and the challenge that she gave to me. That why story is crucial. It's critical. It's important. So if you're in a space where you have a business, if you have a business or you're thinking about starting, or maybe you got a side hustle and you decided you're going to start a t-shirt shop or something like that, right? And you're like, people are not buying my t-shirts. I mean, I put it up on social media and I put it up on my Etsy store and I put it up on Shopify and I shared some stuff on YouTube and I shared it on IG, but nobody's buying my t-shirts. Well, a lot of times people don't buy because they don't know why, right? They don't buy because they don't know your why. If they don't know your why, then you're just another vendor in a sea of vendors. You're just another marketer. You're just another product owner or product sharer or whatever in a sea of vendors where they have a multiplicity. Yes, I said multiplicity, right? They've got a lot of choices and a lot of options that they have access to. So what causes yours to stand out? What makes yours different? What makes yours different is the emotion that's behind it. What makes yours different is the story that's connected to it. And one of the stories that is going to make a huge difference in your business, and you don't only have to use this in business, you can use this in your personal relationships as well, right? But one of the stories that's going to make a difference is your why story. Why is it that you do what you do? Why is it that you care about this particular thing? Why are you producing this product? Why are you selling this product? Why is this product meaningful to you? And why would it be meaningful to me if I buy it? Right? So I hope you learned a little bit as I've shared a little bit of time. Go ahead. If you're in the chat and you've learned or there was something that you learned inside of this, go ahead and let me know. I'm having a problem with some of the chat here today. Let me go to another chat space and see if I can see what people are saying here. Yeah, let's see what people are saying. Okay. Yeah. So the last thing that I'll share before I jump off of here is I shared with you one story that a small business owner can tell, right? And there are several other stories, but I want you to join me tonight in the Start Where You Are Challenge, startwhereyouarechallenge.com. Join me tonight and we're going to share a little bit more about that, because we don't want you just to be out there on Etsy, on Shopify, on Facebook Marketplace, on Craigslist, selling stuff. Right? We don't want you just to be thinking, oh, okay, I'm going to have this other business and then wondering why people are not connecting with the business or why they're not supporting you in the same way. You want to be able to share something that engages and connects with your audience and what's in it for them so that they can really have an emotional buy-in to this. All right. So join me. Make sure that you get registered We start up tonight at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 5-day challenge, start where you are video challenge. Come on and learn how to share your story, how to structure your story, how to do that using the very simple device that you've got. Boom, right here. Let me do it on the other hand. So actually, no, let me hold it here. Yeah, right. Simple device that you have that you can use to make a difference financially, make a difference emotionally, make a difference personally, make a difference businessly. Yeah. All right. So make sure you get signed up for the Start Where You Are challenge. We're going to talk more about these things tonight. Join me. Come on, join me on the in the group and join me for the challenge tonight. We start at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I look forward to seeing you in the room. Start Where You Are challenge tonight. Peace out. I'll see you soon.